Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're busy with an E36 M3, a Dakar Yellow one, very special one indeed. Quite a clean example of this particular model itself. The car has a bit of a misfire, it has a bit of a rough idle on the cold start, and the owner has been nagging me to actually go about and have a look and see what's happening on this particular car. It's quite cool to see an E36 M3 customer coming into the workshop, because it not only shows our capability of only doing the turbocharged BMWs, but also some of the older school cars itself. So the approach we're going to use is merely a logical approach. We'll maybe do a smoke test on the car to see if there's any vacuum leaks that are missing, or any vacuum leaks rather that are present on the car. But nonetheless, let me take you through this very clean example on the engine bay and take you through what the ideology is going to be to ensure that we can see if we can maybe get this car back up and running into the former glory that it was. So a very clean example of this particular car itself. The one thing that's not ticking my boat is that I think we have these replica wheels, or they could be the wheels from the 3.2 liter. The reason being is that the 3 liter would generally have the indication here on the side which shows the motorsport logo, but there are wraps like this here around. So yeah, this here, these wheels didn't actually tick my boat on this particular car. But the engine bay is pretty clean, absolutely exceptionally clean. This is what I would aspire to do on the red one itself. So in terms of this particular vehicle, a lot of stuff has been already replaced. So what they've replaced was the coils, the injectors, the airflow meter. They've replaced that there as well. And then the car went to BMW. It came back with a little bit of issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the plugs to see if we have a leaking injector. The next thing we'll do is we're going to clean the idle control valve, which sits at the bottom of the intake manifold. And then after that there, we'll wait till the car gets a little bit cold. At the moment it's still pretty warm, so I don't think the symptoms would appear right now. And then last but not least, what we can potentially do is we can do a smoke test. We'll put the smoke test after the MEF sensor there, and we'll blow smoke on the inside and see if there's any leaks that appears on the car. Yeah, a very cool example. I think once we're done with this here, we'll take it out into the sunshine and see it in all its former glory. So basically what I've done is I've just taken out all of the plugs and the coils. From what the owner has told me is that all the coil packs were replaced. So I don't know if only a few were replaced or just one or two, because the reason being is that some are still the Bremmy and then some are top end. I think if we replaced all six would have been of the same brand itself. So here you can see this is a top end, this is a Bremmy, this looks like another Bremmy, top end, this is a Bremmy, this is a Bremmy. So cylinder 1 and cylinder 4 are top ends, and all of the others are Bremmys. The other indication for me, or rather a concern for me, is that you can see the coloration of the black. So this is of the spark plugs, they're all black. So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So somewhere along this line we're going to need to resolve this particular ignition issue. So if these are new coils and apparently these were new spark plugs, then we now need to start seeing what the hell is going on here. So the diagnosis here is going to be pretty much trial and error in order to determine what's going on. But nonetheless, while this car is still cooling down, we'll get to the idle control valve. We'll clean out the idle control valve and do the smoke test as well. So some of you guys were most probably wondering, what is the smoke test? What is it? It's basically an old school idea of putting smoke through the intake manifold, so that if there is any leaks present, the smoke will come out. There's some ways to do it, like you can use it with a sort of like a suction pump, and you put a cigar at the end. But yeah, we're going to use the old school vape, and I'll just give you guys a quick glimpse of what it is. So first things first. So you basically blow the smoke into there, and if you see smoke coming out anywhere in the motor itself, then you need to investigate to see where the leak is. But you can see the smoke coming out from here. That is because it's traveling through here, going past the valve, coming out there. I'll do it again. Can't really see it on camera, but there's it there. So what this means is that there's no vacuum leaks on the intake manifold. For smoke to come out from there is normal. So yeah, now basically what we do is clean the idle control valve and take it from there. So we were comfortable with the smoke that there was no oil leaks, but what we uncovered as soon as we took the intake manifold off is that we have a lot of oil sitting on each of the cylinders here. But that being said, that could also be causing why these plugs are getting so black so quickly. The oil separator at the bottom as well as the idle control valve is completely covered in oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the idle control valve, check the pipes there, and after that is done, we'll give that idle control valve a clean, and then we'll take it from there and we'll have a look in to see what the issue is. That particular valve could be blocked at the moment, but unfortunately only time will tell as soon as we take it off. But how beautiful it is to see the 6 individual throttles sitting like this here. So just an indication of how these pipes actually are looking. You can see they're all caked up in some grime and oil, excessive blow by there, and here you can see. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to clean this up with some carb cleaner. Once we've cleaned it up with some carb cleaner, we'll be able to determine, because there's a flap basically on the inside, and what this does is this flap closes during idle, so that, or it opens, one of the two, but it allows the air to go back into the sump, and yeah, it does all funny stupid things. I think after this they created that SAP system on the E46s, but nonetheless, let's give this thing a clean up, let's see how it looks, and then after this here, put it back into the car. But yeah, it would be interesting to know what's going on here. So with the idle control valve, well, I don't know, oil separator all cleaned up there on the bottom, looking all good and clean. We checked the pipes for any leaks. There is no leak, so I don't know why it was breathing in the first place, but nonetheless, I was concerned. I cleaned it up with all the oil that was sitting here on the intake. Pretty concerned about that there as to why the oil is actually going or passing the entire system and going on to the inside. So I would need to investigate and see a little bit further as to what's happening there. But once I think I've got that there, I'm going to give this thing a start up and see if this car misfires. I just spoke to the owner. He said all of the coils are brand new, but they were bought at different times or different periods. The plugs as well. Yeah, so we need to understand and visually draw this thing out in our mind so that we can understand what the problem is. So the problem is quite random. It will happen, not happen, then it will happen for a very long period of time. So like this morning, it didn't actually happen itself. So it's difficult to diagnose something when it's an on and off situation, but nonetheless, we'll try our best to see if we can get to the solution of this particular problem. I think in a previous video I said it wrong, so that was most probably the oil separator, but this is the idle control valve here. So one way to check it is if you shake it like this here, you'll actually hear that valve open and close, and this is most probably a problematic thing on cold start. Maybe it'll give you a misfire as well. But we can look on the inside. There's not much carbon on the inside, but yeah, it is a bit sticky. So what we'll do is we'll most probably clean it out with some carb cleaner and put this one back in on the inside and see if it resolves the problem. We won't just go out and just get a new part. Let's see if it resolves the problem, and if it does, well and good. If it doesn't, then we know we might be in for some maintenance work here. So I think I might have found the problem. I don't know as yet. So initially this entire valve on the inside, it was caked with some black residues. You can see now it's all clean. Prior to this here, it wouldn't swing so freely, but now if you look, you can even see it swinging on its own. So can you see that? It never did that there. When I stopped it, it used to just stop in its tracks. So now with this here, you can actually see it swinging close, if you can focus. So let's put this back into the car and see if we've resolved it. We've just given it a clean, haven't done anything drastic to it. Hopefully this idle control valve was the problem. Taking the car out on a cold drive just to test if the symptoms relate. So far so good. Doesn't look like she wants to cut off. I came to a stop. Idle is normal. Car is extremely cold. Not gonna take it past 4,500. So yeah, I wonder if this problem is resolved. I'm gonna have to have a chat to the client itself and see, okay, have we resolved the issue or not? But if we haven't, then yeah, we got some more investigating to do. But so far, no stalling, no funny idle. Car doesn't want to shut off. I think we're good. I'm not too sure, but I think we're good. I think as a precautionary, those plugs are fouled like that there. At some point we would need to change those plugs. But yeah, damn man. And actually a befitting end to this particular assignment that we were entrusted with. But nonetheless, we still don't know if the problem is resolved. I'm going to give it back to the owner. He needs to test drive it. He needs to see what's going on, because only he knows, or rather understands, the misfire that's currently taking place. We took the car for a drive. As you could see in the video itself, there was no misfire apparent, and also it was on a cold start. So all of the symptoms that it used to do, we did it. We tried to replicate it, but it seems like the little fixes that we did could have resolved the particular issue. This particular 3 series is absolutely brilliant. So what we have is, we have a German spec, if I'm not mistaken. Could be German spec or South African spec, but nonetheless a two-door with some German spec interior on the inside. I know you can look at the stitching and you can see all of those other fancy things, but who gives a shit about that? Nonetheless, pretty clean example. The body lines are all straight on the car itself. Has its fair share of issues, but nonetheless, it is a complementary example of, I would say, a refined example. Also has the pop-out windows here at the back. Yeah, rivets are still there. Welch plug is still there. Very clean example. This thing will fetch some good money at some point in time. Bearings are coming out. Bearings are coming out. Looks there's some... what's that there? Looks some glue is holding it together. But still, yeah, still pretty clean example. Not going to show you guys a number plate for obvious reasons. But yeah, guys, enjoy it. Take it in. So this is a Dakar Yellow E36 M3 that we have here. But interior wise, okay, so the driver's door card, at least it's on. But it does have a tear on that side there. But at least it's on and it's in good pristine condition. The seats are still in good condition. Mats might need to be cleaned. But yeah, I really enjoyed working on this car. It was a pleasure absolutely working on it. Yeah, nice, good, clean example. So let's park this bad boy off and take it from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video on this clean E36 M3 Dakar Yellow, or first Dakar Yellow in the shop of any type, any model, any vehicle. Would have been nice to work on also on a Dakar Yellow E92 M3, but unfortunately those are also scarce as well. I think those only came out in the editions. Yeah, but yeah, till we meet again. I think there's a M4 coming in tomorrow, and we have some welding on the block to do. Hope you guys stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet. Peace.